Hello again, everyone. My name is Devin Mescar, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about securing personal devices in the work environment. Now, the reason that this is important is that everybody over the past couple of months, actually past several months, has been hearing a lot about data breaches and information security and things of that nature. Things like the breaches at Yahoo, Experian, Equifax, and even in some more recent news about the White House Chief of Staff actually having his personal device become compromised. And with all these breaches in security, companies are becoming more and more concerned about keeping their data under their control, and rightly so. These concerns about security get met with requests by employees to go ahead and use their own personal device to perform work duties, especially if they're, say, a salesperson out in the field and they want to use their own tablet because it's maybe just lighter, or they have their own reasons usually. And then the problem with everything, as you see here, is that the company doesn't have exactly the greatest control over everything. So the problems actually become that the data at rest on the mobile device, such as the tablet, the smartphone, even a personal laptop, is usually not encrypted. Also, the data while being used or in transmission over the internet is usually not being passed through a VPN tunnel, so it's also not encrypted, leaving everything basically open to anybody who's good enough to listen. And then also you deal with employees trying to keep copies of files on personal devices in order to try and make their own work easier or their own lives easier. Or sometimes they make personal copies just in case they get fired to come back against the company. This has happened before. And then also you risk the potential for the loss of a device or the theft of a device to also become a security breach for the company by having that data then become exposed to whoever stole the device. Could be, just anybody. And then also you have to deal with whoever's no longer with the company. Like I said, if somebody gets fired, they still have company data. Now, also another thing is that the IT department for our company has no visibility of these devices at all. We don't know about their patch status. We don't know about their operating system version, their serial number. We don't nothing. And for the purposes of this presentation, personal is just anything that's not owned by the corporation. So what solutions exist to this problem? Well, we can go ahead and have the users encrypt their devices. Actually not that hard and does not really inconvenience people. If you're on an iPhone, you're already encrypted. And most newer Android phones, also the same thing. All you have to do is when you restart your device, just input your PIN or your password, and then you're good to go. And then you can just continue to use fingerprint or whatever form of authentication you're going to use. And then another solution that we have to this is implementation of policies and procedures that give us a groundwork for how to work with employees on using their own personal devices. So this lays out things like, here's the Wi-Fi you should use if you're going to be using a personal device while you're at work. Here's what you should do if you're outside of the corporate network, say you're at a McDonald's or just anywhere, maybe even a client's site. You should use a VPN, things of that nature. And so also that brings me to secure Wi-Fi being provided for the employees. It's actually not that difficult and should not provide any added cost at all, actually, because it's just a separate Wi-Fi network name, more correctly called a SSID, that they can connect to, has special security settings that they don't have to fiddle with in order to get out to the internet. And then we obviously would want to encrypt their devices. Then there's mobile device management tools such as AirWatch, Google G Suite, Hexnode, ConnectWise, and some others. And then so by going ahead and implementing these, we can have a variety of different things that protect us, actually. So with those policies and procedures, the employees report data theft. or device theft, or the device is lost. And then what we can do is with our remote tools, we can actually go ahead and wipe that device, and then it's no longer a security concern because there's no information on it anymore, or at least no corporate information. And then we can also force or expect at least employees to use a secure PIN or password on their device for when they unlock it. We can also lay down some expectations that employees keep their devices up to date, as well as disallowing use of jailbroken or rooted devices on the company network, as well as for company purposes, being that they're inherently less secure. Now, getting to the wireless network, you would normally have one for guest, one for employee use for their mobile devices, and then one for corporate use, which would be the company laptops and things of that nature that have access to maybe more secure information. And then what I would recommend as far as for a mobile device management solution would be AirWatch Agent combined with Workspace ONE. These are both products provided by VMware, a leading IT company. And first we'll go to AirWatch Agent. AirWatch Agent is actually a really slick piece of software that allows not only for mobile device management, but also a little bit of application management as well. You can kind of disallow and allow certain applications to be installed on the device. But also, it integrates just fine with our existing Active Directory network infrastructure, so the user signs into AirWatch with their regular Windows account. And then it can enforce different policies like what we've been talking about. Things like device encryption, remote wipe, even VPN settings, but not only enforce these settings, but actually push them out to the devices. Then it can also actually keep the location access on so that we can track the device later. And then you can even push out email settings and single sign-on so that the employee doesn't have to fiddle with like a third-party application to get their company email. And then AirWatch Agent actually also allows you to restrict access to certain settings, enable profanity filtering, and disable app removal if it's a corporate-owned device where you have a little bit more legal control over the device. And then now, once you go from AirWatch Agent kind of on the security side of things, you get to Workspace ONE, which actually controls the ability for the employee to move certain information around, access different applications, but it also allows them to actually access those applications, whether it is Adobe Acrobat Reader or even Microsoft Office Suite on an Android phone, an iPhone, a MacBook Pro, a Windows 10 Surface, or any other different device, because Workspace ONE actually has applications for almost every single operating system that exists, including Chromebook, actually. And now what's interesting about Workspace ONE is that it actually not only gives us the ability to have employees access these applications on different devices, we can actually see who has different apps, as well as if they are up to date, what device type is using that application, and what device type is being used by that user, as well as the operating system version and the licensing agreement to make sure that everything is licensed properly. And then further with Workspace ONE, you can also automate the deployment of applications, as well as automatically stop an application deployment if it's experiencing a high crash rate on other devices. So you don't have to even step into the process at all to stop things. It just automatically stops for you. And then the nice thing about how it handles the sign-in is that once you download the application, you just sign in. Then you should have access to any applications that your admin has been provided to you. And then a really good feature of Workspace ONE is that you can go ahead and access all that corporate information, whether it be email or Word documents or PowerPoints or say even Tableau figures or anything of that nature. But with data loss prevention, DLP, we can actually stop users from copying and pasting outside of the Workspace ONE app into, say, a personal note file or a personal email account or anything like that. Now, it sounds like a pretty good solution, right? Well, you're probably also wondering, how much does it cost? Well, we actually have some pricing figures available right here. It says that the probably the max that you would be looking at for a user for a perpetual license, this would mean that they'd be licensed indefinitely, would be $400. Now that sounds like a lot. If you have even just 10 users, that's $4,000. That's still a nice chunk of change. But they also have a monthly subscription model that you can offer, or that we can purchase, I should say. And then also it goes as far down as $50 for a perpetual license for the quote standard model of things, which gives us a little bit of leeway. Maybe somebody needs only the standard feature set, so we pay the $3.50 a month or the $50 for them to be able to do some basic work and things of that nature on their iPad, whereas maybe somebody else that needs to have full portable Windows apps, needs full secure access, and the whole thing, maybe we spend the extra money on them and we pay the $23.25 a month, or the $400, or whatever we would decide. But these are my current recommendations, and thank you for your time.